Hey, this is Jordan from Zero to Hero Muscle, and in today's new secret training video, you're going to learn how to finally break free from your skinny guy shackles by learning how to gain weight the right way and finally build yourself some muscle. Now, instead of putting you on a traditional bulking and cutting cycle like so many other bulking plans do that leave you stuck looking fat and fluffy like a Pillsbury Doughboy for half of the year, with my approach, you're going to learn how to gain weight the right way so you don't gain any fat and all you do is gain muscle so you can stay looking lean and mean all 365 days all throughout the year. Now, this lesson is taken directly from my upcoming training course, Zero to Hero, the muscle building blueprint for skinny guys. So if you haven't signed up for my priority wait list, make sure you click the link on your screen and add yourself to my email list before we run out of spaces. It only takes a few seconds. So get signed up and get ready to learn and enjoy this exclusive free training video. So, how do you gain weight if you're skinny? More specifically, how do you make sure that you gain muscle and not fat, like so commonly happens when smaller guys try to get big? Because of course, you want to get bigger, not get fatter. And in order to do that, of course, you need the right formula. Well, I know you've probably heard this formula at least once. Eat big, lift big, get big. I can tell you right now, that's not the right formula. Not at all. If you eat big and lift big, you will certainly get big. But going back to what I just said a second ago, it's not going to be the right kind of big. The problem with this formula is that not only is it overly ambiguous, but it stresses quantity over quality. That should never, ever happen. Gaining weight as a hard gainer doesn't mean simply just stuffing your mouth with as much food as possible. You don't have to eat tons and tons of food. You only have to eat enough food. So while it most definitely isn't about eating a ton of food, it is about eating the proper amount of food. You're looking for the minimum effective dose here. The minimum amount of calories, fats, carbs, and protein that are going to yield the most optimal weight gain results for you. With the most optimal weight gaining results meaning gaining muscle and not gaining fat. This means a very slow and a very steady bulking plan with just a very slight daily caloric surplus. No more than 500 calories tops. The kind of surplus that is going to have you gaining no more than half a pound per week, which translates to roughly about 2 pounds per month. It doesn't seem like much, but even 2 pounds of gains per month is actually relatively high. You'd want to aim closer to gaining just 1 pound per month to avoid any unwanted fat accumulation, and even 1 pound is a lot. But for you hardcore newbies who feel like Aladdin, where this muscle building thing is a whole new world to you, gains like that aren't uncommon as a beginner, and they don't necessarily mean you're gaining fat either. It's up to you to monitor your weight gain progress with a mirror and progress pictures. Don't just rely on a scale because that's just feeding you numbers that can trick you into thinking you're making huge gains, when in reality, the weight increases it shows could be a number of things. Water weight, bloat, fat. The mirror will tell you things that a scale cannot, like whether what you're gaining is actually muscle or if it's just fat. Again, you're aiming for about a pound of weight gain per month. Trust me, that is a lot of gains, even if it doesn't sound like it. Don't be like these other knuckleheads who are out gaining 5 or even 10 pounds per month, claiming they're on a hardcore mega bulking cycle where fat gains are irrelevant because they're going to get rid of it later with a hardcore mega cutting cycle. I've been through that nonsense before, and trust me, as a skinny guy, as a hard gainer, and as an ectomorph, it's an easy trap to fall into, but you don't want to waste any of your time with it. Bulking and cutting cycles are just plain stupid. It's just an excuse to be lazy about your intake and get fat for no reason, other than the fact that you lack the necessary discipline to actually account for your nutrition properly. I don't know about you, but I would rather not waste half of the year looking like a fat slob just because I didn't want to take the time to track my nutrition and just allow myself to be careless with whatever I ate. I'd rather hold myself accountable to set aside the little time it takes to track my nutritional goals, eat within those boundaries, and look good all year long. Do not put yourself through the stress of having to lose fat that you have gained from being undisciplined. The fat gaining process involved in these bulking and cutting cycles that are so tolerant of it never even need to happen on your muscle building journey. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you need to gain fat in order to build muscle. If anyone ever tells you that, run. Run in the other direction as fast as you can. Why spend several months bulking, then several months cutting to get the desired result you could have by just doing one slow and steady bulk? Why would you waste time gaining fat only to waste even more time later trying to lose it? And newsflash, once you create fat cells, there's no getting rid of them. You're stuck with them for the rest of your life, meaning you're more susceptible to fat gains more than ever. So avoid eating big at all costs. Just eat enough. And more importantly, eat enough of the right stuff. This brings us back to the whole quality versus quantity concept, meaning not just focusing solely on how much food you're feeding your body, but what kind of food you're feeding it. Because trust me, you can eat all the food you want and you'll gain weight all right, but if it isn't the right food, you sure as hell can bet that none of what you gain will be muscle. Same goes for your workouts. It's not about lifting big and trying to go as heavy as humanly possible where you're struggling for your life to pump out just a single rep. It's not about how much you lift. It's about how you lift, especially when it comes to building muscle and building an overall more aesthetic physique. If you're more concerned about being able to say you can bench 300 pounds than being able to build an impressive physique that speaks for itself, then this isn't the channel for you. Just get out of here. Besides, the last time I checked, nobody cares how much you can lift if it doesn't even look like you lift, which most often is the case when you hear guys bragging about their lifting stats. Those guys don't even look like they work out. It's all just ego lifting for them. And the last thing you want to be is an ego lifter just like all the other dum-dums. And before you go and be that guy who's like, well, if it's not about how much I lift, then I'll just lift these bitch weights and go super light. That's not what I mean in the slightest. While you don't have to go super heavy to build muscle, you can't go the extreme opposite and expect to build any muscle by lifting like a bitch. You don't need to lift heavy, which doesn't mean you should be lifting feathers. You should just be lifting enough weight that is going to provide your muscles with the proper stimulation needed to tear them up and get them to repairing, rebuilding, and regrowing bigger and stronger. That muscle building process doesn't occur with heavy ass weight you can't lift properly, and it doesn't occur with light ass weight that isn't challenging you. Again, you're gauging for the minimum effective dose here. That's all it takes is the minimum effective dose. You don't want to overdo it, just like you don't want to underdo it. You want to find that sweet spot where you're being challenged just enough. So instead of loading your sets with more and more weights, focus on loading them with what actually matters. Technique. Again, it's not about how much you lift. It's about how you lift. Building muscle doesn't just happen from getting weights from point A to point B. Building muscle depends on all the little things that need to happen between point A and point B. Like, are you fully stretching your target muscles at the maximum point of extension? Are you fully contracting your target muscles at the maximum point of flexion? Are you performing the full range of motion to even reach those 2 points? Are you in the most optimal position to get the most out of the exercise you're performing? Are you in proper form? Are you in proper posture? These are just a few examples of several things that need to be addressed during every rep of every set of every workout that most guys don't even think about. And this is why most guys look the way that they do, average. And if you're anything like me, average is the last thing you want to be. So I'll say it again. Don't focus on lifting big. Focus on lifting smart. It's not about how much you lift, but how you lift. I can't say it enough. Just like how with your nutrition, it's not so much about how much you eat. Yeah, that's important, but it's more about how you eat. So instead of eat big, lift big, get big, the more appropriate formula to muscle building would be eat efficiently, lift efficiently, get ridiculously sexy. Cheesy as hell, but I'll take looking ridiculously sexy over looking ridiculously big any day. I hope you enjoyed this exclusive lesson taken directly from my upcoming training course, Zero to Hero, the Muscle Building Blueprint for Skinny Guys. Again, if you haven't signed up for my priority waitlist, make sure you click the link on your screen and add yourself to my email list right now before we run out of spaces. It literally takes just a few seconds. So do that right now, and I will see you in the next training video.